All right. Hello. What is up, guys? Welcome to another awesome lesson because today I have a lesson for you that is very relevant to what's happening now because we're going to talk about the Olympics. The Winter Olympics in Korea have been going on for about 2 weeks now, and I believe they end tomorrow. So, what I wanted to do was talk to you about some important words that we use when we're discussing the Olympics, that we always use when the Olympics come up every 2 years. So, please, in the comments, let me know. Let me know where you're joining us from. We love it when you guys participate and get involved in these lessons. So in the comments, write your name and tell me where you're from, because when we're talking about the Olympics, it's an event that includes so many countries from all over the world, people from all over the world, just like you. So please write to us in the comments. Let me know your name and where you're from. Now, today we are going to talk about Olympic vocabulary, and not just vocabulary that is for the Winter Olympics, but any Olympics. Vocabulary, that words that you would hear if we're talking about the Summer Olympics, the Winter Olympics. And this is good to know because every 2 years the Olympics come up and many of us watch it. And it's good to be able to have conversation. We hear these words when we're listening to the TV. We read about these words when we're reading articles online about the Olympics. So these are some very useful vocabulary words that you can use now for the rest of your life, because you will always hear these. You always hear these words, especially every 2 years when the Olympics come around. So again, please, in the comments, let me know where you're joining us from. If I don't see everybody, I'm sorry. Michael, Billy, Marco, thanks for joining us. Glad to have you guys with us today. So today, I'm going to give you these words. I'm going to tell you the part of speech. I'm going to give you the pronunciation of the word as well as the meaning, and then we'll talk about it a little bit more. And I might have some questions for you guys as well that I want you to write the answers and practice using these words in the comments. So let's just jump right into it. The first word that I want to talk to you about is this one right here, and that is anthem. So this is a noun. It's 2 syllables. And the stress is on that first syllable, anthem, anthem. And an anthem is just a song, but it's a song that is identified by a group or nation. Mostly, especially when we're talking about the Olympics, you always hear something as the national anthem. Each country would have a national anthem. It is your country's song. And you hear the national anthem at sporting events, definitely like the Olympics. You might hear them in school. When you went to school, they might play the national anthem. So please, in the chat, in the comments, let me know, what is your country's national anthem? Tell us the name. It's always great to learn about other countries and other places. For example, in the United States, which is where I am from, the national anthem is called the Star-Spangled Banner. I am not going to sing it for you because I am a horrible singer, but that is the name of our national anthem in the United States, the Star-Spangled Banner. And you hear this, especially at sporting events. If you go to baseball or basketball games, they always play the national anthem before it begins. And I tried to find as many different flags down there to represent the different countries. I apologize if your flag is not on there. That was the best image I could find that showed a lot of different countries on there. So again, an anthem is the uplifting song, and I want you to tell me, what is your country's national anthem? The next word that I have for you, and these words are just in alphabetical order. They're not in order of importance. The next word is this one, amateur, which I just realized M comes before N, so this word is not in alphabetical order, but an amateur is a person who does an activity for pleasure and not as a professional. This is a noun because we're talking about a person. It's 3 syllables, and the stress, again, is on that first syllable. And that second syllable has that schwa sound, that amateur, amateur. The other thing I will say about the pronunciation of this word is most Americans would say it like this. Most Americans like me would say chur. They don't pronounce that T in there, amateur. Some, I think maybe more in British English, you might hear the T, amateur. That is also another pronunciation for this word. Both are acceptable. So again, an amateur is somebody who does an activity for pleasure and not as a professional. So for example, in the winter, skiing is always a popular activity, and you might say these people are skiing for fun and they are just amateurs. Now, the one thing I would say about this is that when I think of the word amateur, I think about somebody who is trying to become a professional. The people in the Olympics, they are all professionals. They're not amateurs. But amateurs are usually, they're still very talented at an activity, and I think they're trying to become professionals. So it's not like I have never been surfing before, and it's not like I would surf for one time and then say, oh yeah, I'm an amateur. No, I would be horrible at surfing because I've never done it. But so an amateur is somebody who's not a professional. They just do it for fun. But I also think maybe they're trying. They would like to become a professional maybe one day in the future. Now, when we're talking about sports, this next word is very popular. It's very common, and it's something that happens in the Olympics, and it's often discussed. And that is if somebody is banned. So it can be used as either a verb. The Olympics, the Olympic Committee banned the athlete. It could also be used as an adjective to say that someone is banned. And this means that they are prohibited, or the people forbid this person to take place in the competition. They cannot participate in the competition. They cannot be a part of the competition because they have been banned. Now, the reason that somebody might become banned from an activity is because they were doping. And this is, again, a little more controversial when we talk about sports in general, as well as the Olympics. So doping is a noun, 2 syllables. That stress is on the first syllable, doping. And it became very popular in the news because of that guy down there, who is Lance Armstrong, who was caught doping. And then it really got a lot of attention. And this is something that also happens in the Olympics as well. And it is using drugs to increase performance. And that's why a lot of these games, like the Olympics, they will test people. They will give them drug tests because they want to make sure that they are not doping and that they are not using drugs so that they can perform better and they can do better at their athletic competition. So if somebody is doping, they shouldn't, because then they might get banned from the sport. So you don't want to be banned, so people shouldn't be doping. Another word, a very common word that I think many of us know when you think about the Olympics, is this one right here, and it is a medal. Now, it's a noun, it's 2 syllables, medal. And a medal is like that picture right down there. It's a reward. It is a piece of metal given to honor a person, action, or event. Now, when I was putting this together, I thought it would be useful to talk about the pronunciation, because the word medal, M-E-D-A-L, it sounds very similar in American English to metal, M-E-T-A-L. So a medal is a piece of metal. And you might be listening to me and being like, wait, what are you talking about? You're saying the same word. And yes, they would be homonyms, because in American English, this is definitely in American English, when the T sound is in the middle of a two-syllable word, they would call it the flap T. And that flap T sound is more like a D sound. So metal, the T sound is in the middle, and it sounds like metal in American English. Another example would be water, water. Again, if I say it, because I'm from the United States and I speak with an American accent, I would just say water. It sounds like that D sound. So that is a little bit of a pronunciation, explanation for you between these. But a medal, again, is something that people win. And the people that win medals during the Olympics are participants. And a participant, it is a person, and it's a noun, and it is 4 syllables. Participant. And the stress is going to be on that second syllable. Participant. Participant. If you guys want, if you're at home, I think it always helps when I say the words, repeat after me, all right? It's a good way to imitate the accent and practice your pronunciation. Participant. And a participant, as you can see right here, is a person that takes place in something. So the people that are the athletes that are taking part in the Olympics, they are participants. So it's for any athletic competition. So these people right here, they are running a marathon, and they are all participants because they are taking part of this race. They are participants. Now, my question for you is, have you been a participant in some event or athletic competition or an activity? I think most of us have been participants, so I want to hear from you guys. So in the comments, let me know what have you been a participant in? What have you done? And you're like, okay, yeah, I'm participating. I want to participate in this activity or in this sport. Now, when we're talking about the Olympics, another word that you probably see this at the Olympics, but maybe you're like, I did not know what this was. And it is this word right here, which is a podium. And a podium, it is a noun, and it's 3 syllables. The stress is on that first syllable, podium, podium, podium. And this is a platform for people to receive their medals. And this happens at the end of the Olympic competitions. They would have a podium, and the people that finished first, second, and third will get up on the podium, like this little picture down there. So now that when I was putting this lesson together, I was thinking about, have I ever been on a podium? And the answer to that, I can say, unfortunately, is no. I have never stood on a podium. And I think this is definitely something that you see in the Olympics, because they would have a podium. But when you're just doing other competitions, especially team sports, many times they won't just have a podium. They'll give out medals or they'll have some ceremony, but there might not be a podium. But yeah, I've done many athletic competitions, but I've never been on one. I've never done one with a podium where somebody was up on a podium. Another great Olympic word that I have for you is this one right here, preliminaries. And it is a noun. It's a longer word. It has 5 syllables. Preliminary. The stress is on that second syllable, but it's not a very strong emphasis. Preliminary. And this is a contest to determine the finalist of a competition. So if you guys have been watching the Olympics, have you been watching the Olympics? I've been watching it a little bit, but not a lot. I've been getting updates about it. But you have different competitions. And you don't just have one competition. You'd have one competition, and these are the preliminaries. And the winners of those races or competitions, they go on to the next one. And they keep doing that until they have the final competition. And that is when they determine who gets first, second, or third place. So the events that lead up to the final one, we would say those are the preliminaries. You would also could use it as an adjective if you're talking about the preliminary round. So for example, like in the World Cup, they have the preliminary rounds and then you have the tournament. So again, it could be used as an adjective to describe like a round, preliminary round, but most of the time we could refer to it as the preliminaries, and it's a noun, and these are the competitions. Now, with each Olympics, you have all of those athletes, country athletes from all over the world, and we could say that those athletes are representatives. Representatives. It is a noun, and this is a person who represents a country, a person who represents the country in the Olympic competition. It has 5 syllables, and the stress is on that third syllable, that zen, that S has more of a Z sound. Representative, representative, representative. And again, every time the Olympics is held, the athletes are representatives of that country. Now, I think it's also important when we're talking about representatives, in the Olympics, the athletes are representatives of the country. But you could have a representative of just about anything, somebody who represents something else. So you could have a representative for a company. You could have a representative for a school. So it's somebody that represents this business, this group. And in the case of the Olympics, it is the people, the athletes that represent the countries in competition. Another word that I have for you, another Olympic word, which is also relevant to many, many sports that people would play or they would watch, would be spectator. And a spectator is a person, so it's a noun. It has 3 syllables, and the stress is on the first syllable. Spectator, spectator. And these are people that watch these athletic competitions. So if you have ever gone to a basketball game, or you went to a soccer match, a football match, any type of athletic competition, if you were watching, then you were a spectator of that competition. So for example, the people that are watching, they are spectators. They are not participants in the competition. They are watching, and they are spectators. So I want to know, tell me in the comments, what sport do you like to watch? You can tell me, use it in a sentence. I am a spectator of what? Which sport? What's your favorite sport? What are some sports that you guys like to watch? I am a spectator of, for me, I'm a spectator of football. I'm also a spectator of basketball. I enjoy watching basketball. Some of you guys sharing with us. Hello, if you guys are joining us, we're talking about Olympic vocabulary. So hello, Patricia, Michael, Amano, Ciro, James, great to have you guys. So a spectator, again, is a person that watches an athletic competition. Another word when we talk about sports and athletics would be sponsor. So this is a noun, 2 syllables. And the stress is on the first syllable, sponsor. And a sponsor, many times after the Olympics, these athletes they're very well known. They can become famous. And then a company will sponsor the athlete. They will say, hey, we will be your sponsor. We are going to pay you money to promote our products. So I tried to find the picture down there of maybe this woman down there. She is a athlete in the Olympics and she wins a medal, and then Coca-Cola asks her, say, hey, we want to be your sponsor. We will be your sponsor. We will pay you to drink Coke. And this is something that I think you see a lot after the Olympics, Winter Olympics and Summer Olympics, right afterwards. You see some of these athletes in commercials. You see them promoting different products because they have a sponsor for that product. Another great word when we're talking about the Olympics and sports and competition is sportsmanship. And this is a noun that's 3 syllables. The stress is on the first syllable, sportsmanship. Sportsmanship. And whenever you play a sport, that you would hope that everybody there is always sportsmanship, that there is fairness, there is honesty when you are having these different competitions, sportsmanship. And a lot of times people will show their sportsmanship by shaking hands after the competition because it was a good competition and, it was fair and somebody wins, somebody loses, but it's always good to show sportsmanship. Another great word when we talk about the Olympics is standings. Now, when you think of standings, this is something that is relevant to pretty much all sports, because it is the ranking of teams or individuals in the order of ability or achievement. So basically, the standings tell us at this moment, at this time, who is first, second, third, fourth, fifth. Those are the standings. And as the competition goes on, maybe the standings will change. But when you talk about the list of teams or individuals, when they put them in order, those are standings. You would say, oh, what are the standings? So I have a question for you. And I don't know how much you have been watching these Winter Olympics, but I want you to tell me which country is leading the Winter Olympics. If you look at the standings right now, which country has the most medals in the Olympics? I want you to write that in the comments. I want to see how much you guys have been paying attention to these Olympics. Another Olympic word that you would hear at the beginning of the Olympics is this one right here, and that is a torch. So before the Olympics, they always light the Olympic flame. And that's basically what starts the Olympics, the Winter Olympics as well as the Summer Olympics. And they have this relay race where people are carrying the torch. And they get there and then they light the Olympic flame and the Olympics begins. So a torch is just simply put, it's right there. It's a large flame on a stick. So when you're talking about a torch, you're talking in the Olympics, you're talking about a stick with a flame on top of it. Now, a torch can also be used to talk about like a flashlight. Some people might refer to a flashlight as a torch. That is also a torch. But when we're talking about Olympic vocabulary, this is what people would refer to when they're talking about a torch. Another word is, this is a good word when, again, talking about the Olympics or any kind of sports, is venue. It is a noun, it's 2 syllables, and the stress is on the first syllable. Venue. 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 And this is the place where an event is held. Now, when we're talking about a venue, you could say something like, oh, well, what's the venue for the Winter Olympics? Well, the venue is South Korea. Maybe you're referring to a country. I think most of the time people are referring to a more specific place because they're talking about an actual event that is happening. So they're talking about a certain competition. They may say, well, where is the venue? And the venue might be in a stadium. You're going to have the competition in a stadium. This is the venue. Or maybe the venue is on a field and you are going to have the competition on a field, and this is the venue. But a venue is just, again, it is the place where the event is held. So I am going to review those words with you guys one more time quickly for those of you who are just joining us or joining us a little later. Yes, I see your comment. Yes, you guys are right about those standings. Norway is leading right now. They have the most medals in the Olympic competition right now. So let's review these words quickly. And these are words that you hear with the Olympics, whether you're talking about the Winter Olympics or the Summer Olympics. And they're also very relevant to sports in general. So we talked about this word right here, an anthem. I asked you guys about your country's national anthem, which is the song, the uplifting song of a country. If somebody does a sport for an activity, for pleasure, or maybe they want to become professional in the future, we would say that they are amateurs. They are amateur athletes. And if somebody is prohibited from participating in a sport or activity, you would be banned. That person is banned. To prohibit or forbid somebody from participating. And maybe they were banned, I told you, because they were doing what? Do you remember? They were doping, maybe. So if somebody's doping and they're using drugs to enhance their performance, then they might get banned from participating in the activity. And when we think of the Olympics, very common thing we just talked about were medals, that you win medals for your country, and these are pieces of metal. Usually you'd have either gold or silver or bronze, and they're given to somebody to honor their participation for winning an event or a competition. The people that take part in something in these competitions, they are participants. And I asked you guys if you have ever been a participant of an activity. Last year, I did a marathon, and I was a participant. We also have a podium, which in the Olympics is a platform where people can get their medals, podiums, and the competitions that lead to the final competition, those are preliminaries. They are contests to determine the finalist of a competition. I told you that athletes in the Olympics, they are representatives of their country. They represent their country. But again, representative, you could have a representative of a government, a representative of a company, a representative of a school. There are many types of representatives. The people that watch these sport competitions, they are spectators. And I had asked you guys about which sport are you a spectator of? I am a spectator of basketball and American football. I know many of you might be like, what, American football? But yes, I am a spectator. I like watching those competitions. And also the people that are the best athletes in the world, they usually have a sponsor. Some company pays this person to promote their products. So the most famous athletes in the world, LeBron James, Cristiano Ronaldo, they all have a sponsor. They have companies paying them a lot of money to promote their products. So this is something that we see all the time in our countries, no matter which country you're in, because most countries have certain sports that they play and they have athletes that are really good and they have a sponsor. And when we're playing these sports, we should always be fair and we should have good sportsmanship. And after the competition has ended, doesn't matter if you won, it doesn't matter if you lost, you should show good sportsmanship and usually congratulate the other person, shake hands, and then, just try to just move on with your life. I don't know, but have good sportsmanship. I had asked you about who has the most medals in this Olympics, and all of you said Norway does, because in the standings right now, it is the ranking of teams, but in this case, the ranking of countries in the order of their achievement, in the order of who has won the most medals. And right now, yes, Norway is winning the Winter Olympics. They have the most medals. They are number one in the standings. At the beginning of the Olympics, they light the Olympic flame using a torch, which is a flame on a stick. And then I told you that depending on the event, it has a venue. It is a place where an event is held. So if you're talking about sports, the venue might be a stadium, the venue might be a field, the venue might be a gym. But you could also use this talking about any event. So for example, like a concert. If there's going to be a music performance somewhere, you might ask somebody, be like, where's the venue? Where is this event taking place? And then somebody could tell you the venue. Where is the venue? So I hope that you learned some new words today. Again, these are great words when you're talking about sports and the Olympics, especially the Olympics. Doesn't matter if it's the Summer Olympics or the Winter Olympics, you can always use these words. And I thank you guys so much for joining me today. Thank you, Rosa, James, Tronco, Khaled, Junior. Thank you guys for being here. Please, if you enjoyed this lesson, like and share it. And I want to hear from you guys. As always, write to us in the comments. I want to know, which is your favorite Olympics? Do you like the Summer Olympics or do you like the Winter Olympics, and why? Which do you prefer? Or maybe you don't like the Olympics. That's okay too. Write to us in the comments. Let us know. We love hearing from you guys. And as always, try to join our social media classes right down there. We are active on all of those sites. It's a great way to practice and improve your English skills. So thank you, Caesar, Luis, Long, Ronan, Sema. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Please hit that like button if you enjoyed this lesson, and I will see you guys next time. Have a great day.